episode 5. Episode 5 of the podcast of Chamber Chatter, where we have people come on the stream, on the podcast, to talk about the thing that they really want to talk about. That's right. We don't exactly do like a traditional podcast where people are invited to a studio, so to say, where there is already a topic at hand. But if it's more in the lines of this podcast is here for the purpose of letting people speak their minds freely, and sharing their thoughts, their ideas, their concerns, or their topics, their interests that they want to talk about and share with the world. And that being this opportunity being Chamber Chatter. So with me here is the real D Kwon, or just Kwon for short, who really wanted to talk about a certain topic. And with that, I would say, Kwon, I suppose that you already know how the podcast works, but just to be absolutely sure and recap that we basically take turns. Like, first off, it's going to be you that will be introducing yourself and then talking about the topic at hand with your first bit on said topic. And then we go back and forth so that we don't talk over one another or interrupt one another, so that we can keep our trains of thought, especially with me, because sometimes when that happens, I lose my train of thought, and then, something that I really wanted to say is not put in there, or the other way around, something that you wanted to say is not put in there because I'm being stupid. So that is something that I want to encourage, is that we take turns so that everyone can say the exact things that they want to say. In the meantime, whenever you are talking, I will be taking notes of the things that you have said and then reply and respond to the things that you have said. And then we go back and forth like that. So with that, I would say, Kwon, feel free to introduce yourself in however fashion you like, and then start with the topic that you really want to talk about and what you wanted to share.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Drake Kwon. I am a Pacific Northwest based indie wrestler. Today, I wanted to come here and talk to you about a subject that I find myself struggling personally, as well as everybody else in the business. That is to stay relevant with your surroundings and your audiences, and to build a relationship with your audience and your fan base, and how to utilize that into relevancy, because it's really important for a performer, whether it be live in front of a live crowd or you be streamer in front of a screen. You have to stay afloat in every aspect to go on, build your, I guess, your platform, your foundations, your fan base. That way you can move up a step by step up the ladder. The only way you can do that in practice, and practice and theory is very much different in a lot of aspects, but most important, in practice, you want to build enough individual relationship with your audience so they can recognize the performer anytime they see you. They can see you and they can somehow feel personally connected. So they have a reason to come back and see you again. Now, that said, when you are in front of a bunch of anonymous people that you do not know, strangers, it is enormously difficult. And I mean, freaking difficult to build that personal connection with every single individual people there. I'm guessing it's a little bit different on streaming. I have very little experience with the streaming, whether it be VTubing or just in IRL streaming. Because in streaming, you see people's IDs and you can see somehow individuals' name, or at least their identifications, that you can point that out. You can use that as a connecting point. But if you're meeting somebody in a live venue, you don't know them. You have no freaking idea who they are. Hell, for all I care, their name can be John I don't give a jack shit, but I'm here because I want to get drunk Smith, I will not fucking know. But I still need to build a personal connection with this person. Because if I don't, I lose a fan. That person will never come back and see me again. Staying relevant with your fan base is the basic foundation of any performer, any entertainer out there. And we have tricks and tools that we teach and learn to kind of like, I guess, trick people into thinking that we somehow connected or we are reaching out to them in personal level. But in reality, when there are 200 or something people in the crowd, we can maybe pick out 3 or 5 people at best. It's very different with the streaming, of course. And I just wanted to come out here and talk about the difficulties that comes with being a performer, what it means when we say personal connections or that relationship that we build with our fan base. I wanted to ask actually Tabby that how she does it, how she stays in, I guess, personally connecting with her audience. Because you see a lot of people come and go, and sometimes they stick around, a lot of times they don't. What how do you personally connect with each individuals that come and see you?
All right. I'm just finishing up some notes over here because I have a lot of them actually with the things that you said. Like I have a notepad next to me where I just like type in everything with a response that I want to respond with. And yeah, thank you, Kwon, for enlightening us with what you mentioned. And it is indeed nowadays, it is a bit difficult to be, well, it's extremely difficult to be relevant nowadays to literally everyone, unless you're really up to date with everything. And with everything, I mean really everything, especially in your, like in your surroundings, especially if those venues that you go to are very local, then having some kind of a reference for people to tune into that they know, like, oh my God, he knows this about that place or something along those lines is always something that people will appreciate. But now, the vast majority of things that people do, especially when it comes to entertainment, from content creators, would be through all sorts of social media. The social media that is YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, all those things that you have. And sometimes, and for the vast majority of the things that you would see that gain a shitload of traction and doesn't necessarily mean a genuine connection with your audience, is people doing things that are generally speaking unacceptable in terms of what you should do in public, for example. Like you all know those quote unquote prank content creators that just go to places and or just bother people really. Literally, I think earlier today or yesterday, was critical, talked about this one influencer going to places and waste food over themselves. Like they would go to places like with a bucket of food wasted over them and then go off while he's shouting, for 50K likes, we will do this or something along those lines, which is stupid as hell though. And it is something that people, I don't know, it is. I don't want to pull this card of, oh, it's this generation that is, there's something wrong with this generation, that the young kids are at fault and all that kind of shit. But I don't know. It's something that people like to see of things that are usually very different from the standard things that they see. Something that they are like, yeah, we usually don't see this kind of shit. And then they tune in to that stuff because it is something that they have not seen before. Now, when you mentioned that about the end of like about the connection with your audience or however, whether it is in your scene, like the wrestling scene, or streaming, or just content creation in general, that a connection, and specifically an individual connection, only works when there is a mutual interest. Otherwise, it will not work. So I don't know how that works for a live kind of venue thing when people don't know you, but they still tune in. Like when it's a live venue, I get the idea that people usually tune in for the activities at the venue and not specifically for who's at the venue. So they don't really know what exactly is going to happen because they don't know who's going to be there. Everyone has their own style, I suppose, in how they approach certain things in live venues, whether it is through, in your case, wrestling or music performance or things like that. Like when you go to a concert, for example, there's always, a headliner with like the most popular bands. And then before that starts, like the pre-show thing, there will always be the smaller bands that you have never heard of in your entire life, but you don't know whether or not you're going to like them. And it's again up to the individual themselves whether or not they want to. And that's something that you do not always have control over. And that is something that I also know, that I know that people who do tune in into the stream here, that sometimes they tune in, sometimes they don't, which is fine. And with live streaming, people have some kind of a visual already when they tune in, either through when they browse through Twitch and they find, my channel with like a thumbnail and everything, or if they have found me through other media, whether it is TikTok or YouTube or Twitter or whatever, that they then are like, I like this person or I don't like this person, or I might want to check them out and see what they're all about, and then therefore tune in. But that is again only the individual themselves has that power to decide whether or not they want to connect. Like even though you really want them to tune into your stuff, it doesn't matter how many times you can promote yourself. It gets to the point where people have to decide for themselves whether or not they want to tune in. And for me, I don't really have a say in that. Like, I will never also say something like, oh, people must tune into my streams or people must watch my content. That is not how I roll. I have never been that kind of person. And me personally, I just really want to connect with people individually in a very genuine manner because I love talking to people directly and spending time with them so that I can get to know them basically, so that I can know like who's actually there, because everyone is a human being. Everyone is there. Everyone has their own, like everyone is, how do I say that? You are you, right? And I just want to know like who else is out there. How are they? What are they like as a person? What do they like to talk about? What are their interests? How has their day been? And that's something that I really want to do. Just genuinely just talk to people, whether it is through Discord DMs, whether it is through voice chats, whether it is through the stream. I just always want to talk to people. And that's why I'm always happy to see people on stream, because it gives me the opportunity to talk to people. But because I see them on stream already when they see something or when they are tuning in, at least then I know, hey, they have taken the time and they have taken the initiative to actually talk to me. Therefore, I know they want to have a conversation. They want to have something of a response, right? And that's something that is okay. That's something that I would encourage as well. Not that people have to, but it is an option for me to then know, one, there's someone here, two, people want to talk about things, and three, it gives me the option to actually continue the conversation. And that's what I really want to like pick up on, like, hey, okay, someone's saying hi, I'm going to say hi back, and I'm going to up it up a little, or like take it up a notch to say, for example, if someone says hi to me, I will go like, or I will say hi back, but then I will also ask them, how are you doing? How was your day? This and that, so that I get another response from them, and then we go back and forth. And that's something that I really like, because having a genuine conversation is so wonderful for connection with people, because that is something that people then know, like, oh, this is not like some kind of a random bitch on the internet that is just there for the sake of streaming, but more in the sense of they actually want to hear me out, me. Like, I'm not some kind of a performer. I'm just a nobody on the internet. I don't do this, or I don't expect that. And most of the time, when I did talk to people, most of the time, do you know how they usually start talking to me? Most of the time, they are thinking or talking to me like, I don't want to bother you. Can I talk to you? Because I don't want to be a bother. It's like, dude, I am not some kind of a giant famous celebrity or a big Vtuber or something along those lines. Like, we're all regular human beings, and I always want to be on the same level with everyone. I just want to be friends with you. And I don't want people to see me like, oh, this big VTuber celebrity person. It's like, no, no, no. I'm just a regular human being. I want people to see me as their friend, not some kind of a celebrity, untouchable goddess kind of thing. That's not what I want. I want people to just see me as another human being, not as some kind of divine entity that people are like, oh, praise be to Tabby and all kind of shit. No, I don't want that. Just treat me as your friend, that I will do the exact same. And that's, again, being genuine is something that I just really appreciate, and how I personally um, try to connect with people. It's just, I just want to get to know people better.
God, that is very insightful. There was a lot there. Uh, there are a few things I want to go over. What you said. First of all, this generation is cooked. They're fucking dumb. You don't have to try to defend them. They're fucking cooked. Uh, let's see, where do I say? Yeah, social media is definitely not same as a real life. Whatever interactions, quote unquote interactions you get on social media does not translate anything to actual genuine interactions. You talked about it before. Likes and shares do not mean people tuning in. That is absolutely true in both cases, whether it be live streaming or live venues. You can share it, you can repost it all you want, you can have likes all you want. People don't turn up. Like, the numbers do not match. Numbers do not match. Like, you can have the hundreds and whatever numbers of the likes on your post. How many views you're gonna get is not same. It's social media lies to people about the interactions. See, you mentioned that live streaming and live shows, there's a definitely difference there. People will get what they get when you show up to these shows, but usually we get people who are already interested in the shows that will show up. Whether like it's both music and what I do, because I also did theater major in college as well, so this kind of applies to pretty much any live performances. If you're going to pay tickets and to be at the show, you probably already have an interest, or you probably already are invested in what you're gonna be going for. But the live streaming is a little bit different. Live streaming is more accessible. You can watch streamer and make a decision on whether you want to commit to keep watching them or interact with them. Afterwards, you already check them out. You don't have to make any kind of commitment before going into someone's streaming. I think there is such a huge advantage on audience's part. They can pick and choose whoever they want to go and watch and support. And I think that's the reason why the audiences for streaming is more genuine in interest. When they get interested in their streamer they want to interact with, that's a genuine interest in person, because they have to make that commitment to come and say hi, because they could have just easily clicked away. They didn't. That means they really liked what they saw, and how much ever time they spent there. That is huge. But if you go to a live show, and sometimes we just do a free show on a street or whatever venue. Like yesterday, we did a show at a beer fest in front of a bunch of drunk people. It was just part of the beer fest. So people who were already coming to the beer fest just got a free show. Were they entertained by what we did? Probably. But at the same time, they weren't there for it. So they had no interest or commitment to come and, like, be interested in what we're doing or say hi to us. I mean, some people say, hey, that was great. Cool. You were drunk at 11 a.m. I'm pretty sure you're sober enough to, like what you saw. But yeah, you get what you get at live shows. I think that's a huge difference between live streaming and a live show that's happening in a real life. Let's see. The genuine conversation. I wish I can have the genuine conversation with my fans or people who call themselves my fans at the venues. But the difference is, Tabby, you want to be seen as a regular person at their same level and have a conversation in the same ground. that cannot work for somebody like me who has to hold ourselves in somewhat of a grandstanding to stand out from rest of other people to stand out because our job is to be different. If we're same as anybody else, there's no reason for somebody to pay money and come and see us perform. And that puts us at disadvantage when we want to have a genuine conversation with people because they will be, oh my God, that was awesome. I love what you're doing. Cool. You and I cannot never be on the same level because I'm a performer performing in front of hundreds of people, and you're one of the fans that pay tickets to come and see me perform. We cannot be on the equal ground, sadly. And I had times where people found out my real name and follow me on my real Facebooks, and that freaked the fuck out of me because they'll send me messages, and I'm like, yo, I don't know how you found me, but message me on my work page because that's not cool. That freaks me out because I'm trying to separate the work and real life separate. You following me to real life freaks the fuck out of me because that's not what I'm trying to do. Uh, but I wish I had that kind of genuine conversation. But like, only time we can have the genuine conversation is when we're not being ourselves. That's really confusing to say when I say when we are not being ourselves, but also at the same time we're being not ourselves, if that makes sense. Because we have to put on a character, but only time I can talk to you genuinely is when I'm in a character, not when I am me in real life sense. So that creates such a barrier between us and fans. I'm pretty sure that's the same for actors, musicians, because they have to put on certain persona for the media. So they go out and be this person they want to be. They want crowds to see them, but they cannot really expose themselves in most human way to their fans because that's not what fans wants to see. That's such a distance, a gap between us and you guys is that we cannot be who we want to be because that's not what fans wants to see. And with that said, like honestly, like I love what I do and I'm pretty sure you love what you do. The difference is the platform that we work on, the live and streaming, as different as it is, but at the end of the day we just want to entertain our fans. It just takes a different path to get there. And let me just rephrase what I'm gonna say. Wish we can be all together, but because of what we do, it's not possible. As much as we want to be close to each other, in a sense that I perform and I want to be part of you, in the crowd as well, and enjoy things that we do together. But because we are not doing things together, that's not possible, if that makes sense. And because of that, as a performer, we can never really have a real, genuine connection or conversation with our fans. So everything is artificial. And that sucks. That really sucks. Because I mean, there are exceptions always, there are always exceptions. We have few people that made themselves into somewhat of an inner circle and they became a friend and we hang we do activities together outside of shows and wrestlings and we play cards games together and whatnot, but that's far in between. Like you have to be really committed to following this lifestyle that you want to be part of this inner circle, and that we have to be willing to shed our deception, I guess, or disguise, to expose ourselves to them in the most naked form, which goes against everything that we have trained for, or in instinctively that's what we have to do against our instincts. Yeah, it's difficult because, and that's why a lot of people, when they follow somebody, when they follow me or any other performers, they're not following me, they're following the idea in their head, who they think I am. And because of that, when there's a fallout, it's even crazier, it's even greater fallout than any. Actually, I think I think there is a very similar comparison I can make to VTubing will be Cinder. Yeah, surprisingly, yeah, because you all had an idea who Cinder was. Turns out that was not the person. That's kind of the similar thing that we're doing here. Like, we had a persona, we have an idea, everybody have an idea of who we are. If that's not who they, and turns out it's not who they thought we are, well, shit, everything is now a lie, isn't it? Yes, I say the name. Yes, I have no problem saying the name because I'm not I'm not treating her like a Voldemort. And I apologize if I'm rambling on and on. I'm trying to make this more palatable without getting a little too nerdy about the subject. I like, because it's not for everybody. I know wrestling is not for everybody. It's a very niche thing. I'm trying to make this more palatable and try to make a comparison to somewhat relatable ground. And that's why I'm trying to like compare this to streaming and theaters and actors and whatnot, because that way it's more relatable and understandable. Uh, but yeah, God, where was I? Oh, yeah. Uh, so back to the point, and question again for you, Tabby, is have you had any experience like when somebody tried to reach out to you and they already had this preconceived perception of who you are, and you don't want to break them for them because like they want to like you, but you don't want to hurt or break their illusions. Has that ever happened to you?
Um, to be fair, I'm trying to think of a scenario that's, well, the scenario that you're trying to depict here. I haven't really had that. And when I talk to people, I talk to them in the exact same way. I act, oh, not act, but how do I say that? I'm basically the same person in IRL as I am online. And that's what I wanted to say. I handle every conversation and every person the same way. Where whenever people talk to me, then it's not that someone is going to have somewhat of a better or more privileged kind of conversation with me. It's like, no, no, no. People, if they want to talk to me, you can just talk to me just like anyone else. And it's not that people have this idea about me. I mean, sometimes people have like good ideas about me that they're thinking, oh, you're this wonderful streamer, and I am honored to be talking to you, which by the way happened earlier today. Someone reached out to me, someone new that reached out to me like, I like you so much, and this and that. Is like, you're such a nice VTuber. I like your model. Is it okay if I talk to you? Like, just talk to me. There's no need to do that. Like, as in, no need to be all shy. That's what I meant. So you can talk to me however you like. So I'm not. I'm always going to make it clear to people whenever they talk to me and treat me in a way that I don't like, which is like all praising me and all that stuff. I don't want that. I will make it clear to them. So that's always what I do in every situation when it comes to that. And I will always do that regardless of if I am like a huge VTuber, which again, I've said a billion times, it is never going to happen. But it is always something that I do with literally everyone. And to pick up on that, let me see what I put in my notes here. Yeah, what you said in the beginning of the second bit, that um, no matter how many people are following you, no matter how many subs you have, no matter the number, so to say, that it doesn't really matter. You can have an infinite amount of follows and likes or whatever. It doesn't matter, because what matters is the people that do want to tune in and have actually heard what you had to say. Only that matters. Whether or not they clicked on a follow thing or on a simple button that says subscribe, like, that doesn't matter. What matters is what message have you been able to bring over to the audience or to the person who was tuning into your content. And that is what matters, no matter how many likes or follows or viewers that you have. So that's why that's why I'm always happy to see people actually chatting in chat, because then I know, one, someone has seen it, two, there's evidence of that, and three, they still want to take the initiative, as you have said as well, that they want to be there for a reason. Otherwise, they will not chat. Otherwise, people will just not chat. If people are not interested, they will not show up and they will not chat. Of course, they're all lurkers, but most of the time, those lurkers will just let us know, like, hey, this is going to lurk in the background. That's it, which is fine. Like, I'm not asking people to chat, but it's still a way of letting me know that, okay, people still want to tune in, but they just have me on the background, which is absolutely fine. And sometimes I even encourage that for people, like, hey, if you want to, you can put me on the background while you're playing video games. Just imagine as if I'm sitting right next to you playing video games while you're right next to me. We can like have a virtual LAN party, so to say, like, treat it like that, which is fine, which is really fun. And also the kind of vibe that I want to give to people, that you can just, talk to me. It's like a friend IRL that will be sitting next to you playing video games, or if you want to play something together, you can ask, that kind of vibe that I want to be able to provide to people whenever I'm streaming. But what, again, most importantly, the people themselves are the key thing. I like the number one priority, at least to me personally, and it should be globally for everyone in the entertainment thing, whether or not you're a wrestler, actor, performer, musician, like you said, the thing is always going to be, or the main priority is always going to be, the feeling and the connection that you can build with every individual. Again, no matter how many people you have tuning into your stuff. For example, if you would be performing a show in your wrestling thing and there's a million people, but not a single person is interested in what you specifically did, in comparison to having 10 people and have all 10 of them actually be interested in you, I think the answer is very clear on which scenario that you would prefer the most. So again, that's why numbers doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is, are you able to make people interested enough to actually tune into more of your stuff, into more of who you are? And in that case, that is a bit difficult in your scenario, and you're seeing that you kind of have to play a certain character. With that, it's difficult to be yourself, because your character is most likely going to be someone that is impervious to damage, someone that is super strong, that can toss shit around like crazy, that is this very, something that people are going to see, like this fictional character that is actually there in the real life, in the real world. And that is very difficult compared to streaming, is that people have that decision to be someone or something else that they want. But for me personally, I just want to be myself. I personally find it so tiring if you need to be playing a certain character, which is, to be honest, I haven't really seen people actually do that, except during the time when the NPC thread was a thing. That's when I did see when people were actually trying to be something that they are absolutely not. So that's why I just really would just want to be myself, because it can be tiring. And literally every other person that is streaming, most of the time, are actually just being themselves. However, there are always bad apples in every scene whatsoever, where they would just be an absolutely degenerate fuck and just be so disrespectful to everyone or to anything. Again, that's why I don't really bother with them and just stick on my little thing and the people that I follow. But yeah, it's really difficult though. But a good example, for example, when you mention actors, it made me think of two actors that I really like, who usually play these very badass characters that you might think like, oh my God, they can fuck me up, and they're so strong, they're so so strongly willpowered and all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. And those two actors are Keanu Reeves and Hiroyuki Sanada. Both of them play roles that make them look like these very cool characters, so to say. But IRL, they are so fucking humble and they are just being themselves. And that is something that I really appreciate about them, is because they know that they are quote unquote, well, they are famous, but they don't let it get to their head. And that is very important. Whether or not you have a small audience or you have a big audience, the moment that you let it go to your head that you're like, oh my God, I am so famous right now. I have this and I have that. The moment that happens is when, for me personally, when all respect starts to just fade away, because there's nothing more attractive to people being genuine. Like, no matter what your looks are, no matter what you have done, no matter what you stand for, but if you're genuine with people and don't hide behind a mask of playing or being someone that you're not, then yeah, it is really difficult to keep up with that too. And to the other point that I wanted to point out is about your stuff being discovered, your IRL deeds being discovered is something that actually happened to me, and actually one of the main reasons why I became a VTuber, because originally this channel right here is not something that I started with. I used to have a different channel altogether, YouTube, Twitch, whatever. I used to have that before this. And that was with IRL streaming, when people could actually see my face and be playing video games or whatever. But that never kicked off. Like, it took me 5 years or something along those lines to merely get to affiliate. So it was something that just didn't work. And I did do something on the side, basically some spicy content, so to say. And what happened is that people actually figured out who I was and where I lived, to the point that I actually was being stalked to my own house. People were bothering me. They was all saying all kinds of insults here and there. And it got to the point so bad that I had to move places. And I also had like a court case thing going on and everything, which is absolutely not fun. Police got involved. Like, it was fucking terrible. And that's why I just quit streaming altogether, at least at that time. Then, of course, there were other darker times that were happening, and they stacked up on more and more and more shit that I'm just thinking, like, I am just, like, I cannot take it anymore, to the point that I was, I'm not going to elaborate on that because otherwise Twitch will have my ass again. But I was at such a dark place that I then basically, at one of my most darkest times, that I discovered a very specific individual in a fucking Santa Gecko outfit. Fucking Zentrea it was a random video that was popping up on my phone while I was scrolling. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I clicked on that. And with the message that Zen had at that time was the reason why, one, I'm still here, and two, how I continued doing the things that I loved, which was live streaming. And then I wanted to figure out, like, how the hell does this person do that? And that's how I became a VTuber. I don't associate myself with like the VTuber community, but I see VTubing as a means of still showing some kind of visual feedback for you guys to see what's happening behind the scenes without me actually revealing my face. That's why we are here now, in the certain sense of me. That's why I'm here now with the visuals that you see, because it gives me that option to do that. And that's kind of a little backstory thing that I just put in there.
And we're glad you're here. Uh, but pick up on good things. Yeah, I guess you always said that you are just you, and you're not putting any lores or characters. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're all here and appreciate what you do, is because you're just you. And there's a saying in our business is the best kind of best character is just you cranked up to 11. If people find you likable, if they find you relatable, then you just gotta be yourself. And then people will just flock to you. There's no reason to put on these fake personas, fake gimmicks and masks and whatnot. Because who mentioned it in the chat? Because you gotta remember every single lie you tell. But if you're just you being you, you don't have to remember shit because you just have to continue being yourself. And that is absolutely true. As people, they will see through fake. And it has happened before, it will happen every time. And that is why anytime somebody is, exposed as a liar, chip, whatever, it's because they cannot keep up with their lies. And that is it is such a simple concept that somehow people just keep missing out. And that is one of the things that I wanted to mention because that is one of the absolute main reason why we are here enjoying your content is because like you said, you don't bullshit around, you don't hide behind any mask, it's just you being you. And that is such a lost trait nowadays. uh God, there were so many things I wanted to talk about that my minds are all jumbled up. Yeah, it is crazy that this is not your first attempt at streaming. And I guess, I mean, when people know where, who I am in IRL does not really bother me as much because what the fuck are they gonna do? What the fuck are they gonna do? Are they gonna show up to my home? Like, no, they're not gonna do that. But yeah, it's definitely a different case for you, and I'm sorry that has happened to you. Uh, VTubing in general definitely gives you more protection from these quote unquote fans because you're, I guess, it's sort of a protective barrier. It's more of a insurance to keep yourself safe. But people like me who needs to be in front of live audiences, we are naturally exposing ourselves to who potentially could be, like weirdos and crips, and I gotten some weird messages before, and I still do. Surprisingly, oh yeah, it's such a hard distinction between who's gonna be a fan and who's gonna be, I guess, quote unquote, fan turned into a weirdo because you don't know until that bridge has been crossed. Like as much as you want to, embrace them and like accept them and have them as your fans and like enjoy their support and whatnot. Like you don't know at what point they're gonna be sending you this fucking weird message. Hey, can you send me your feed pics? I was like, what the fuck, dude? Dude, no. But that's the danger we're putting ourselves in. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, not just the building relationship with the fans and whatnot. The other thing I wanted to talk about was how to use your fans to stay relevant. In the sea, I mean, it's a red ocean in both streaming and wrestling and like any like a theater, HEMA, whatever. Right now, it's such a huge market right now, and it's such a red ocean. There's so many competitions now, and you try to stay relevant, you try to stay afloat, you try to stay step ahead of everybody else. Yes, Vesh, I'm trying to use you guys. God, oh my God, yeah, it's like that's a terrible word, but you get what I'm saying. It's like how do you utilize the followings you have to stay relevant? Because let's face it, social media is not the best form, does not really lead you into any new opportunities. You collabing or working with somebody bigger than you does not necessarily mean a new opportunities. Because if it's just a one-time deal, that doesn't mean jack shit. Like the only way you're gonna get rub off of somebody bigger than you is they constantly bring you along, or they constantly mention you, or they're constantly, be there in your presence, so people can make that connection, and eventually maybe their followings will turn into your followings. But if it's just one time and done collab or working together, that doesn't mean jack shit. Their fans gonna stay as their fans. They're not gonna bother at the end of the day, unfortunately. So when you have a small following, I guess small following as in like a fan base or your audiences, what is your strategy per se? Because we have our ways of extending or expanding our opportunities is directly uh con- making directly like trying to reach out to other people that can give us the opportunities. Does that work? Sometimes. It's like a small actors reaching out to, like whatever theater group that's gonna do a play and say, "So, can I get a part in your next play, sir?" It's pretty much exactly that. We're reaching out to people in the other, like areas, like, "Hey, I heard you guys have a show happening. Can I be on it?" 90% of the time, either they say no or they ghost us. But that one time, I will drive 6 hours just to have a 5 minute in the ring in front of 20 people, just so I can make a new connection with the people in that area and use that as a connecting point to reach out to the different people. But how does that work in streaming? How does that work in VTubing? Like, do you reach out to other VTubers directly? Or do you have like some kind of a network that you can reach out to?
Um, for me personally, the networking part has always been a bit difficult for me. Because the vast majority of the people or of the VTubers out there, which kind of sucks though, is that either they just don't they are just not interested in collabs, which is fine, or they get to the point that they just are too busy or are too big that they don't really bother with, you know, collabing with people that are smaller than them. And sadly, no, that is the truth. And that's why um some like most of the times whenever you see people like VTubers collabing together, most of the time they're going to be people that they already know from some kind of an interaction or something that they have done before. But at least they have to be at some kind of a like some kind of a uh like a certain size of content creator, right? Because with me, like what do I average at? Like 25 you or something along those lines, no one's going to reach out to me to be like, hey, I want to collab with you, except for when it's people that are smaller than me or people around my viewership, because otherwise that doesn't happen. Like no big VTubers ever going to collab with me whatsoever. I know that from like I know that 100%. Like I would really like to have some kind of collab with Zentrea, but that is never going to happen because um yeah, she has her own little friend group, and she has like a certain vibe that needs to be there. And that is also something that for me is like clear that not everyone vibes well with one another. And again, that is something that I just don't really do myself in terms of, oh, you like I always would like to collab with someone whenever we have some kind of a game that we can play mutually, but as long as the vibe is there, I don't give a shit how big you are of a VTuber. If you have one viewer, if you have zero viewers, doesn't matter. I would love to collab with people. Um, but it is, like you have said before, it is so goddamn competitive right now that people don't really want to collab for the sake of spending time together, but more for the sake of getting more viewers. And that is something that I absolutely hate and what I absolutely am against, to how people approach collabs that way, that they use collabs for their own gain. And especially like 100% sure, if I would ask a random VTuber, like, hey, do you want to collab with me or do you want to collab with Zentrea? Who the fuck? Like, and if there's a 100% guarantee, like, you have 100% guarantee you will be able to collab with one or the other. If you say, or if you give the option of people to be collabing with Zentrea or with me, 100%, 100% without any kind of doubt, people will pick Zentrea over me. Why? Because the smaller stream is then being introduced to so many more viewers, and then so many more people will know of that person that will benefit to them the most because of the large audience that Zen has, which again, I am not against Zen. I'm not against big VTubers, but it's just the mentality that is going on. And that isn't only with the VTubers, that is with content creation in general, that they always pick something that benefits them the most. And I hate that. Whenever someone wants to collab with me, I'm all for it. Like just now, like when we were playing Helldivers earlier, Rada and Pi were playing Helldivers with me, right? And to me, it's just like, yeah, sure, just hop in. And I see that as well as a collab that, we are just VTubers playing together and just doing something together. And I really like that. And for me, it's not for the sake of, oh, look at that, I have more audiences or I have more people tuning in. Wow, no, no, no. I am playing for those people and with those people specifically. Whatever the community wants to do is entirely up to them. If they want to tune into my content or if they want to check out our stuff, that's absolutely fine, but that's entirely up to them. I will not ask them. I would not ever ask people to tune into my stuff. Not ever. That's why if they want to do so, and with the points that we said before this bit, that people will always be responsible for their own decisions, whether or not they want to tune into your content, no matter if there is some kind of collab going on. And again, when people are presented a literal gift on a silver platter where they're like, hey, you are going to be collabing with a huge personality, then of course they're going to like say, like, oh my God, yes, I really want that. And because they're going to see like, oh my God, I'm playing with this huge VTuber and I am being noticed by people and all these people are going to see me, then I'm thinking, is that really why you're VTubing in the first place? Is that really why you want to collab with people? Because if so, that is so, so wrong in my opinion. The collab shouldn't be for the sake of you being introduced to a larger audience because of a certain individual with a larger audience. Just, I like, for example, with me, if any other random VTuber that is, for example, 10 times bigger than Zenturea in terms of audience, if they would invite me to their stream for a collab, I would most of the time say no because I don't know them. The reason why I would like to collab with Zen is because I really like Zen with the things that she has done for me, but also for other people. That is the reason why I want to collab with her, not because of her audience, not because of the things like how big she is, as in terms of following. I don't know what she is, well, it doesn't matter either way. But just in terms of the person that Zen is the only reason why I would want to collab with Zen. No other reason whatsoever.
I appreciate that actually, that you sticking to your guns and saying that you will say no to a call up from somebody bigger just because you're not vibing with them. That is actually a huge thing in my opinion, to say no to a huge opportunity just because you don't know them, you don't like them, or whatever the reason. It's one of our goals at the end of the day is to be on a TV. If somebody, came up to me, hey, you want to be on TV for 30 seconds, get your ass kicked, or you want to go do a show in front of 30 people and win a 10-minute match, and everybody will say, I'll be on a TV for 30 seconds and get my ass kicked, because that right there is definitely bigger exposure. That's definitely more opportunities in the future because you've been exposed to the larger audience. But you I don't know. That's crazy to me. Like how you can say that with such confidence, it's such a strong statement. And I'm not saying that as a negatively. I'm just saying that is an amazing thing to say. And you are absolutely right about vibing with somebody before collabing. And it's not just collabing with somebody. I think Vash pointed up that your audience has to vibe with you as well, and you have to appeal to the right kind of audience. And if you hate your audience that are tuning into you, then who the fuck are you doing it for? Like, you gotta have a right kind of audience that likes what you're doing, and you gotta like the audience that likes what you're doing. That's the only way this relationship works. They both of you liking what you guys doing. But yeah, speaking of collab, I worked with a few big name people, and it was great and all. I said, oh my god, I'm so excited to work with this person. There has a huge followings on internet. It I had fun, but at the end of the day, it felt like, well, they're just another dude that I just worked with. Like, he's nothing as a person. Like, there's nothing wrong with him, but at the same time, there's just nothing different. It's just another person that you're working with, and I did not have a problem vibing with them. But at the end of the day, I think you're absolutely right. If I don't like somebody, I don't want to work with them. And there are absolutely people like that out there. It's like drizzling shit of human beings that I absolutely detest. But sometimes we have no choice but to work with those people. And the quality of my work suffers just because of that. And I hate myself for it just because I know I can do better, but I'm letting my personal feeling getting in the way of my work. And people shouldn't suffer because of that. And yeah, it's just such a downer. And when that happens, I just feel dirty. Like, afterwards, I was like, oh my god, I just committed a sin, or like, oh my god, I just like done something bad for all the people that came and like pay money to come and see our show. It's like I fucking let them down just because I did not like the guy. Like, that's not professional. And trying to be professional, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And uh, yeah, a lot of this is hitting me really hard. Like, it's very personal to me. So yeah, sorry, I'm rambling on, and my mind is just kind of like wandering around the things I've seen last few days and a few weeks. Like, I got hurt wrestling this dude. I didn't want to have a match with him as I don't like him. And the last time I had a match with him, it wasn't good because I didn't like him. So we had another match. Lo and behold, I did not like the match. And I went in there thinking, just like, you know what, I'm just gonna get this thing through. I'm just gonna do the bare minimum to just get through this match. And lo and behold, because of my head was not in the game, and the guy was not very good, I got hurt. And I fucking hate myself for it. Like, sometimes you gotta say no to opportunities that comes in your way to prevent yourself from getting hurt. But that's so hard thing to do. Like, a lot of us are sitting in the mindset that we gotta get ourselves out there. Every exposure is a good exposure. Like, if let's say if Asmongold for whatever reason like saw my video and shit on it on his stream in front of 50,000 people, I'll still take that as like, oh yeah, that is a good exposure. But it absolutely is not in the long run, because 50,000 people just saw Asmongold shitting on me. So how is that going to help me in the future? Like, not every opportunity is an opportunity, good opportunity. People need to understand that. I need to understand that because I'm paying for it right now. Uh, has that ever happened to you as well? Because you don't feel collapse now, and all of them were people that you know and you like. But has there been any occasions where you were playing a game with somebody or doing a stream together with somebody, and just immediately you felt this isn't it? I'm not feeling it. I thought this person was gonna be a good idea to collab or play with, but the moment you went into it, it's like a nope, the vibe is gone. Has that happened to you?
Wait, hang on, my brain was being AFK for a bit. Hang on, what was the question?
I was asking, has there been a occasion where you collab with somebody or you all the plannings you went well, but the moment you went into it, you just went, nope, this is not gonna work out.
I haven't really had that, to be honest. Not that I have a lot of collabs anyway. But I've never really had some kind of a collab that I'm thinking that, oh, it's not gonna work. I've maybe been in, let's see, one, two, three collabs over the course of um my VTubing career, which is now 2 years, something along those lines, or almost 2 years, I forgot. But yeah, I've only had three collabs. Um, the first one being Julie, the second one being with Moody, and then the third one being with Marana, Pi, Mimi, and Glumira. That's it. So I haven't really had that where I'm like, yeah, that is not gonna work, or that this vibe is not there, or the vibe is not there that I'm looking for. And usually before I personally would want to reach out for a collab is with people specifically of which I know that the vibe is gonna go well. Otherwise, I'm not exactly going to be just like picking out a random VTuber on Twitch and just be like, hey, I'm gonna pick you. You fell on my bingo list. You're gonna be my next collab person. I don't do that. I don't want to do that either because, again, I would like to know the person first before I would ever collab with them. And like I said before as well, that I don't give two shits whether they have like 10,000 viewers. Doesn't matter to me. Even if they want to collab with me, I'm going to say no because I don't know what their vibe is. I would first want to know, like, what are they like so that I know, like, do I really want to collab with this person? Yes or no?
Right. Right. I guess it's really important to like getting to know somebody before you actually making that kind of plan. My other biggest fear is like when if I ever get to the point where asking people for collab and they're like, well, you only have certain amount of views, like you mentioned that earlier. Like I don't want to seem like I want to collab with you to exploit you kind of situation. Because just like you, I want to have a collab. If I'm gonna collab with somebody, like let's do it for the content, let's do it for fun. I don't want to come off as a guy, oh, I'm doing this to exploit the other person, because that's absolutely not my intent. Right? We all do this because we love what we do. We want to entertain our fans and audiences. We are not doing this to get selfish gain, if that's the word. Because at the end of the day, we're all entertainers, and an entertainer's job is to entertain people, not ourselves. But yeah, like my biggest fear is people like have the perception of me, oh, you're only doing this for because you're selfish reasons, whatever. Like I don't want that on me. Like, but has that I don't know how many people you ever reach out for collabs, and I don't know how many people have. I know you just say you only had the three collabs so far, but has that stopped you? Has that stopped you from reaching out to somebody just because you whatever, maybe the number or the perception, or you're just like too scared to ask, like, or you didn't know the person. I'm pretty sure you have like a plethora of names that you want to reach out to have a collabs. Like I have plethora of names I want to reach out to work with, but not gonna happen. Has that happened to you? Or I guess a better question will be, what is stopping you from reaching somebody out?
For me personally, I would be, I would be, or I would not be reaching out to people whenever I do not know them. And also, it is a bit tricky to get to know the true intentions of people, which is also something that I'm very wary about. It's something that I'm still struggling with to this day, that I don't know who I can trust. And when I collab with people, I want to collab with them in a sense of actually getting to know them better, to be spending time with them. So that it isn't just a one-time thing, but more in a sense of, hey, I want to be doing this regularly, not just this one-time thing. I want to just continue doing so. And there have been people that I've been reaching out to, larger VTubers as well, that just ghosted me basically. So, well, not really ghosted. They didn't even bother reading my message even. So that's why I just stopped altogether, because I just don't know who genuinely wants to collab with me. And that's basically what is stopping me from actively reaching out to people, because you just don't know. And the vast majority is either gonna leave you on read or unread rather, because they just don't even bother reading the message, or they would just straight up deny you. It's one of the two. And that is really sucky. And also, again, like I said before, you don't really know their intentions either. And it has happened before that people are avoiding me altogether purely because of the way that I think about certain things, and that is also so stupid. So that's why, yeah, not really gonna actively reach out to people. And if people want to collab with me, then that's more than fine. But first, before the actual collab happens, I would like to get to know the person better.
Okay. Yeah, these things are really hard, especially when you are still small, trying to build your names, your fan bases. Like everything is a struggle upward. Like it's when you don't know who is your friend and foe. You don't know that who you thought was a friend, turns out to be, like a backstabbing you. You don't want that kind of, experience. So at the end of the day, you just be extra cautious, even when you don't want to be. That is my 2 cents, I guess. As like I'm cautious of, who to talk to. I'm cautious about who to make friends with in the business because I don't know what their intentions are. Just like you, like if I open up to this person, will that person use this information against me and screw me over? Or is this person genuinely trying to help me out? Because unless you're spending hours and hours and months and years times together, you don't know other person. If you only see them once or twice here and there, how are you gonna build that relationship? It's the same thing as your fan base, your audiences. If they don't come back, like day after day, how are you gonna know each other? It's only through the consistent interactions. That's the only way you're gonna build a strong relationship and understanding. So how else you gonna do that with the other streamers? How else you gonna do that with other performers when you don't see them often, when you cannot interact or communicate with them regularly? But yeah, that's my 2 cents. And it's such a downer that we're all trying to struggle. We're all trying to make it out there. Like honestly, for me, streaming has just been nothing but shits and giggles with my friends. I didn't honestly think I will make it this far. I didn't think I will make it affiliate. Thanks to all my friends and all of you out there to make that happen. Making one of my bucket list. Thanks a lot, guys. I will get you back for this. I I joke, but really appreciate you all. Uh, but yeah, like in both, the little time I streamed, the more I understand how difficult it is to be uh, noticed or to even get that kind of exposure out there, to have people see you, because it's just such a vast, gigantic sea of competitions that you need to catch eyes of the audience just enough, like 3 seconds, so they will come and check you out. Maybe, hopefully, they hit that follow button. Maybe, hopefully, they stay long enough to give you that view. But that doesn't happen. It doesn't now. It just sucks. Like, I don't know how you do this day after day. Like, it's it boggles my mind. Sometimes you do this for like a 9 to 12 hours, but you have not missed a day out of streaming, even when you're working. That fucking boggles my mind. And for that, Tabby, you have my respect. I really appreciate what you do, and thank you for having me out here so I can rent and vent. And it's a great experience and pleasure to hear your end of story. If you have anything else to add, please go ahead. I don't want to cut you up, so yeah. But that is my 2 cents.
Um, Cloud, basically, the thing that keeps me going is basically being able to spend time with all of you. And that is my main drive. And that is also something that I do say when people start streaming though. And there's been a lot of people a lot within the community that have been asking me like, hey, Tabby, like, how do you stream? Like any tips that you have for streamers? And then most of the time I'm going to say like, don't do it, because there is like this standard idea of streamers, being successful and being able to turn video games as their hobby or as their job, rather, where they are just being able to make their hobby their job, or and the other way around. That is, again, something that will not happen. Even with me, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to be a full-time streamer, even though I would really like to be a full-time streamer. It is not going to work. Because I am not, like, to go way back to the first point that we've made about being relevant to the audience, is that I am not relevant to the general audience that is there now. Like, the interests are not aligning with the things that I do, or not aligning with the things that we do together as a community, which really sucks. And the only reason why I continue streaming for so long every single day is because of you guys. If you guys aren't here, neither would I. It's that simple.
That we have in common. Maybe one for my audience that comes out, the handful of people that comes out and say hi to me every single show, I probably will not be doing this anymore. Yep. Well, I ran out of things to say, so
Um, yeah, I was about to say that both of us are probably just like going through our thoughts and be like, yeah, there are a lot of similarities here and there, and that we just appreciate like the things that our community does in your case, for your community, that the things that they do for you, and our community here, that what they do for me, and most importantly, for all of you, or or everyone in the community, which is, again, like the main driving, or the main drive rather, behind everything that is the cathedral or the chambermaid. So yeah, it's all thanks to you guys. But yeah, Kwon, I do appreciate you coming out to the podcast and also signing up for it, considering that you really wanted to talk about it. Yeah, it was something that I also wanted to talk about, to share with the world, if people are gonna tune into this and whenever they listen. In which case, thank you for listening. And yeah, it's something that I really wanted to share so that they know what is a little bit of a forgotten thing of being genuine with people, that not everything has to be a performance. Like, just be yourself, really. And I feel like that is the most natural way and the most pleasant way to really get to know one another better.
Couldn't agree more. I do apologize to ramble on and just ramble on and vent a lot. I probably could have had say this more concisely and made this a little bit more palatable, but I did try. I'm not very good at it. There's a reason why they never give me a microphone.
But don't you worry one bit. And don't you worry one bit. I'm basically the same. Like, sometimes I would also ramble on about things. But yeah. In any case, Kwon, again, thank you so very much for reaching out to me for the podcast. Always more than welcome with whatever topic you might be interested in talking about. But at the end of every podcast, there's a little thing that I like to do. I'd like to give the participants a minute to wait, was the minute? It was a minute. To give them a minute to promote themselves, or to say anything that they want. So whether it is like a shout out that you want to do, something along those lines. You have a minute of time to do whatever you like. I will set up a timer and I will let you know when the timer starts, if everything is clear.
All right. Whenever ready. You can find me at
All right,
Really
the
Drake.
timer goes in now.
You guys can find me at Really Drake Kwon on both Instagram and Twitter. I thank you very much to Tabby for being a gracious host. And I want to end this session with a quote from Immortal Scott Hall. Hard work's pay off, dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do. Keep reaching to the stars. Thank you, everybody.
All right. I guess that was the closing line. You had about 20 more seconds. So, but yeah, there we go. But again, Kwon, thank you so very much for tuning in, and always more than welcome. And I would say with that, that is the end of episode 5 of Chamber Chatter. And I hope to see you guys, or up here, or see you guys in the next one. And remember that I love you all for being you.